Stay in your lane. Numbers chapter 12 verses 1 and 2 states, "And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, Hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it." People, including family, will find any reason to devalue or lessen the call on your life. They will say and do anything to make you feel less than who God created you to be. The root problem was never Moses' wife being Ethiopian. The children of Israel intermingled and married other groups of people while in Egypt, so certainly that couldn't be the real issue. From my perspective, the real issue is baby brother, who was raised as an Egyptian, privileged, who wasn't slumming it with us as slaves, is now the head of us all. He is instructing us on how we should live and operate, but he truly doesn't know our plight. And we must do all he says because God is speaking through him? Please. God speaks to us too. You ain't all that special. There are multiple factors playing in those two questions, but we'll just deal with two. The first, biology. Miriam is the chosen leader's big sister. So the big sister must follow the little brother and take heed to all that he says, but he's her little brother. Biology says, I don't have to do everything you say. The second, you didn't grow up as we did, as slaves, doing hard, backbreaking work simply because a man named Pharaoh ordered it. You escaped and made your way to the very man's house who ordered the very people with whom you share the same blood with to be enslaved. You went and lived a life full of privilege and without lack while your people suffered. And we must take heed to what you say because God has spoken it to you. God speaks to us too. And then to add fuel to the fire, you go and marry a woman that doesn't even know our plight. She is not a part of the tribes of Israel. What nerve! If Miriam and Aaron kept going, they would have probably started cracking jokes on his appearance or even his speech. Miriam and Aaron failed to see that Moses didn't even want to take the call on his life. He already had insecurities and concerns of being of any value to these people. And Aaron had to come and help him on top of that. They failed to see that their problem wasn't with Moses. Their problem was with God, his choices, and his decision making. Then they turned around and tried to rebuke God's chosen leader openly. Miriam allowed the order of her birth, her humanly understanding, and budding jealousy to come between her and God's chosen leader. When it comes to doing the will of God, blood rights don't matter. So just because we're family, that doesn't mean you get to dumb down who God created me to be. Look at Jesus and his family. His siblings didn't pay him any mind as the Savior or Son of God when he began walking in his purpose. But he never allowed that to slow him down or get him off course. He understood that God's purpose takes precedence over familial labeling. So the titles that we share amongst family takes a back seat because you are now a living, breathing vessel of God who has been called and set apart to minister and to lead God's people. People of God, know who you are. Know whose you are. Mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, auntie, uncle, just see you as little Johnny or Brenda, but God sees you as a parter of waters, a mountain mover, a bondage breaker, a healer of sickness and disease, a leader and deliverer of his people. Sometimes your family will have a skewed vision of who you truly are. Don't allow it to break you. Don't allow it to lessen or dim that bright light God has placed inside of you. The only voice you should take heed to is God's. He knows the ins and outs of you. Moses was the meekest man on the face of the earth, so Miriam's words could have rerouted the man of God. He could have stopped right then and there, but God fixed it without him having to say one word. God will defend you against your enemies, even when those enemies are your family. He will defend you. You don't have to say one word. God checked her immediately, and he stated, "Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and in the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?" And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from out the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, "Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb." And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, "Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee." And the Lord said unto Moses, "If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received in again." And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward the people removed from Hazeroth, and pitched in the wilderness of Paran. Numbers chapter 12, verses 6 through 16.